1 minute ago, the palace walls trembled not with the clash of swords or the roar of cannons, but with the echoes of a nation's fury. King Charles, dressed in his ceremonial attire, stepped forward to address his people only to be met with jeers, chants, and the thunderous demand for change. What should have been a day of honor turned into a moment of humiliation, broadcast across the world. The scene was electric, flags waved in anger, voices rose in unison, and the call for a general election swept through Britain like wildfire. In the crowd stood Emma, a young nurse from Birmingham, who had traveled hours to be there. She wasn't a radical or a politician, but the strain of endless shifts, rising bills, and watching her mother choose between heating and eating had left her exhausted and furious. For Emma, the monarchy's pomp and politics felt like a cruel joke. Each speech of duty and service rang hollow when ordinary people like her carried the true burdens of sacrifice. She clutched a handwritten sign, "We deserve better." Not far from her, George, a retired coal miner from Newcastle, stood quietly with his grandson. He wasn't there to jeer or shout but to witness what history might record as a turning point. George had lived through strikes, closures, and broken promises. He'd once believed the monarchy represented stability, a thread stitching the nation together. But now, watching King Charles falter beneath the weight of public scorn, he felt something breaking inside. The Britain he had known was unraveling. The tension in London was palpable. Parliament itself seemed paralyzed, torn between loyalty to the old order and fear of the people's wrath. Prime Minister Harrington, a man once confident in his rhetoric, found himself cornered. Every press conference ended with shouts from journalists, "When will you call the election?" His government had stumbled through scandals, economic downturns, and unkept promises. Now, the humiliation of the king had tipped the balance. This wasn't just about politics anymore, it was about trust. Back at the palace, Charles retreated from the balcony. Behind closed doors, he stared at the gilded walls with a heaviness that crown jewels could not conceal. He thought of his mother, Queen Elizabeth, who had reigned with quiet resilience. He wondered if he was failing not only himself, but the very institution she had dedicated her life to. For the first time in his reign, he asked aloud to his aides, "What if the people no longer need us?" The silence that followed was deafening. But amid the chaos, sparks of hope began to glow. Emma's voice, raw but steady, was picked up by a live streamer as she spoke to the crowd around her. "We are not enemies of tradition. We are not destroyers of our country. We are its beating heart, the workers, the parents, the dreamers. If our leaders forget us, then we must remind them who holds the true power." Her words, heartfelt and unpolished, spread online within.